Gonna show you what I know. Break it free from the mainstream, the studio machine. I want it my way. Indie Film Nation. I want it my way. Indie Film Nation. Going all the way. Indie Film Nation.
Hi, it's Mike Smith with another edition of Indie Film Nation. On today's program, we've got an old friend, Barry Mandingo, chatting to Fiona Cochrane with her new film, Four of a Kind. We've just been at the St Kilda Film Festival, checking out some of the shorts. I hope you enjoy the show.
This is a murder investigation and we need to be very thorough.
Well, of course, I'm prepared to help.
Now, we routinely videotape all our interviews.
I hope Glenda forgives me one day. She was my best friend.
Mrs. Carson?
Yes. And so you met her?
No, I didn't meet her.
Really?
Really?
Okay, we're here with Fiona Cochrane on Indie Film Nation, and I just wanted to thank you for joining us, Fiona.
Pleasure.
Four of a Kind, not another gambling film, is it?
No, not another gambling film. For women.
Okay, well that's fine. I just wanted to know, for those who haven't been fortunate enough to peruse the film as yet, would you care to give us a little outline on the film and speak to a couple of the themes that you were dealing with in the film?
The film is about 4 different women, each of which disclose during the process of the film in a dialogue a secret or a lie or a particular, tales of deception in different ways that they've experienced or created themselves. And so it's the themes are basically about lying to other people and to ourselves. Omissions is omitting the truth the same as a lie, different forms of deception, etc. And it just interweaves the characters together as the plot unfolds.
Ain't love the strangest land brings you down. It's America goes round and round.
All right, I did meet her. But I didn't kill her. Women don't use knives.
Really? What have you done?
I'm too ashamed to tell you.
Plastic surgeon.
I just thought it was part of our special bond. I knew she lied to others, but she never lied to me.
I can handle anything if it's the truth, and he should have known that. And omitting the truth is just the same as lying.
Omitting the truth is not the same as lying, detective. Just allows you to believe whatever you want to believe.
But just in terms of with the actors, I really think, I was speaking to a friend of mine who works in the cinema industry, in the exhibition industry. I won't mention the company, and he said the demographic they're aiming for is around the 16 to 30 odd mark. It varies from time, but it's around that field, and it seems there's a hell of a lot of material which is dealing with young people who are in some sort of strife, or it's got to be some sort of slasher film or some sort of bizarre rom-com that doesn't quite hit the mark. And I'm thinking it doesn't really accurately reflect some of the issues that human beings face. And I think that's something you've really rectified, because you've really made a film starring a certain older demographic in a way aimed at anybody, but it really strikes, I would say it would strike a chord for people of, would we say a little more discerning? Would you agree with that?
Well, hopefully, I can agree with that. But look, this is a film that was made on a tiny budget with a very small crew and cast, and was never expected to go into commercial cinemas. Commercial cinemas need those young people, and that's their main fodder. But this is more for an art house cinema with hopefully women of all ages, but particularly middle-aged women who may be interested in seeing something that they don't normally see in the commercial cinemas.
Okay, well that's answered my next question actually, because I was intrigued to note whether it was in fact a deliberate function of the script or whether it just turned out that way. But that's fascinating. I just wanted to touch on. I'd like to give some kudos to the writer. Would you like to tell me a little bit about the writer, because quite often they get obscured in the rush. Can you tell us a little bit about the writer of the piece and the genesis of the project, how it came about, and as much as you feel you'd like to say about the production and post.
Okay. The writer is Helen Collins, and this is her first film that she's made. It was actually written as a play, so she put it on in a couple of places, in fringe festivals and things in Melbourne, as a play, and then we worked together to adapt it. It still has very much a theatrical feel. The nature of it is that it is very much a theatrical sort of piece. And we didn't alter that. And we didn't alter that. You know, we just accepted that was the nature of it, and that was how we were going to do it, and put other visuals to it, but kept that essence to it. So we altered the whole last act compared to, as opposed to the play. But otherwise, it was putting visuals in largely in flashbacks and things, because the main piece is 4 dialogues between women. So yes, it was Helen's first film, but it was very much, she had wonderful writing. When you read it, I immediately loved it, with the female sort of characters and all the twists and turns and things to it. So yeah, and I've known Helen for a long time. Basically,
yeah. It's in a way what strikes one in viewing it is that sense that, well, yes, women can be as manipulating and conniving as men can be. It's sort of to me it balances things out, but I still feel that that women are off the hook to a certain extent, because there is extenuating circumstances. But it's an interesting piece. It really, in terms of being a conversation piece, it gets things started and discussions about some of the issues. But I wanted to just ask you a few questions about the actual production. Mm-hmm. Anything that you would feel comfortable to talk about in terms of the financing. And I'm also fascinated by the fact that I try not to ask too many questions in one sentence, but there's a couple there. Also, what was fascinating was the fact that you have exhibition, which a lot of filmmakers have trouble getting. As much of that as you feel comfortable talking about?
Yes. Well, I work another job to help support myself be a filmmaker. So, and I was fortunate enough to be left a little bit of money that I decided, as an inheritance, that I decided to put into making this film. So it was made on a very low budget, with basically about 4 crew, and then the 4 main cast and a number of supporting cast. But it was very much something that was possible because lots of friends and family and all sorts of people helped out. So, and you know, obviously from my point of view, it was a labour of love, etc. And you know, I was fortunate to have some people around me who were happy to help out with that for low wages. In terms of distribution, again, we've just, you know, I sent it to a few different people. I have to say, Natalie Miller at the Nova is fantastic at actually championing Australian films and giving them an opportunity that I think most other people don't. But it is at this moment just a limited release in Melbourne, and we'll have to see what happens after that. So Natalie Miller and Gil Scrine came on as the distributor. So you know, I've been fortunate with both of those, and you know, Natalie watched the film and really liked it, and so said she was happy to screen it. It's getting a limited screening, and obviously that will depend on whether we get an audience, you know, whether it lasts for a week or 2 or whatever.
It's terrific. It's almost unprecedented in a way, because exhibition houses are loath to do too many favours. But I have noticed, and particularly since a lot of the installing digital projector systems in order to screen films, depending on their arrangements with who they lease the equipment from, they can in fact make their own choices about what they show. So I believe there may be a change in exhibition, a very subtle change. It's not going to be widespread, but it seems to me that the cinemas are looking at that as an option to set aside certain facilities in order to encourage independent films. So perhaps that's something that will catch on. But I wanted to ask a question. I actually had the pleasure of meeting Joe Camilleri a number of years ago. Found him a very pleasant fellow, and I do recall him. I loved him in the great Australian film Return Home, which he had a brief bit in. And I'm just wondering, now there are those people, and I'm not one of them, who feel that those musical sequences are somewhat jarring. What was your rationale behind using Mr. Camilleri for those sequences? I guess your intentions, and how did you come to use him in the film?
Well, it wasn't an initial thing. It was basically at the end of the film when we're in post-production, because I think there's 4 acts to the film, and there are four fairly heavy emotional stories that leave you, I hope, fairly, you need a little bit of a breather at the end, and it is a very heavily dialogue-laden film. So what the music is there to do is give you a bit of breathing space before you go into the next act, and a bit of time for reflection. If you actually listen to the lyrics of the music, they are we specifically chose pieces of music that actually reflect what's going on in the film, in the stories. And I had filmed Joe at different times, so I knew quite a bit of his music, and I've used it before in my films. And so I approached him to see if we could do it, and we wanted to do it as a live one, to have the visual just break in between to link it. And it's sort of a little bit of your Greek chorus, commenting on it as it goes through too.
Yeah. Well, music I know is important to you, the Songs and Stories of the People projects, and some of your other work. I know how important the music in terms of storytelling is, so that makes perfect sense in terms of the lyrics, I guess, commenting on the action as it occurs. But I wanted to ask you about the festivals. You said about a half dozen festivals that the film has been run in. Can you tell us a little bit about that and what some of the reactions have been to the film thus far?
Yeah, look, it's been in, or it's about to go into about 10, 11, 12 festivals, mainly smaller ones in the US and a few in Canada. Its sort of first screening was over at Montreal, whatever it's called, World Film Festival, sorry. But I don't know is the answer to that. In terms of, unfortunately, I haven't been able to go over and see. So it's had, as far as I know, it's had good responses. They do have email, and I've been told it's gone very well, and it's won a few little awards at some of the smaller festivals. So I believe it's gone down well, and certainly all the various festival directors that have emailed have said it's gone down really well, and gets people talking a lot. It's always the comment that people come out with a lot of discussion about who did what and all of those sort of things.
Well, you would think there's nothing to be achieved by saying that unless it was actually true. So you've got to take it on face value. So that's a great answer to the question. Look, just in closing, I think it's a marvellous effort. I wish you all the very best with it. I personally, and again, this is not calling for comment, just a personal view. I think it is a departure for you, but it also fits neatly into your oeuvre of work. So I think it's tremendous work, and I wish you all the very best with it. But just in closing, if I could ask you, what might be next for Fiona?
Well, I'm just actually finishing off a documentary at the moment, which
Can you say anything about that?
Yeah, it's mainly an educational documentary. Actually, it's about music in the brain, so it's to do with music again.
Okay. I can't get racy out of my head sometimes. Is that the sort of thing you're talking about?
Not exactly.
Not that type of deal.
And funnily enough, I also just filmed Joe Camilleri's 45th concert the other day, and am interested in doing a documentary on Joe Camilleri, so we'll be talking to him more.
45th concert or 45 years?
45 years in the industry,
okay, right.
Yeah. And so we filmed...
That's a little low, 45 concerts,
So we'll be looking at doing a documentary with that. I don't know whether I should be saying that, but anyway.
No, you go right. That's an exclusive here on Indie Film Nation. All right. Well, look, once again, Fiona, tremendous effort. You really delivered the goods there. 4 of a kind, fantastic film. And I wish you all the very best with it and anything else you engage in. So thanks for appearing on the show.
I want it my way, Indie Film Nation, going all the way, Indie Film Nation, you know it's gotta be Indie Film Nation.
You're watching Robert Townsend on Indie Film Nation. I gotta go. They're starting my screening. Peace!